everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the HasanDaily broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Thursday. It's sharp suit day, power suit day, pinstripe day. You already know, looking crispy. We're live and alive. It's July 2nd, 2 days out from the most patriotic day of all, America's birthday, America's 250th birthday, as a matter of fact. The fact that even DSA folk are familiar with the goofy vocal stems Hasan uses on stream will never not be funny to me. Explaining math to the big numbers guy, Hasan Piker, yeah, I mean, that's normal. The real one is when the National Democratic Socialists of America unironically endorses Toby Derby, who is running for governor of South Dakota. Toby Derby, running for South Dakota governor, folks. Running against that yellow-bellied coward Dusty Johnson and Larry Roden. This is a fight between decline and hope. I believe in the people of this state. I believe in you because I am one of you. I believe our greatest days are ahead. The politicians and political power brokers are going to do everything to try and stop us. Will you join me in fighting back? Toby Derby.
There are people in this state, lobbyists, career politicians, that will do anything to stop our grassroots conservative revolution in this state.
That's right, grassroots conservative revolution.
I want South Dakota to be the smallest, freest, most nimble state government in the country. There's a lot of people in this state that they're angry, they're upset, they're struggling. Life is harder today than it was even 5 years ago. All I'm asking from you folks in return is to join me in this fight. Spread the good word. Tell your friends.
God, he looks so hot in a suit. He looks so sexy in a suit. Can we just admire him for a second? Bro is glowing. He is beet red, okay, all the time, which is the sexiest color a man can be. He is so tomato shaped and so tomato colored. And I love it. Turns out it wasn't look like a chud, think like a woke. It was look like a chud, think like a chud. That's what I like the most.
Family, your neighbors, and your coworkers. I need every patriot in this state, every constitutional conservative.
I will admit, he has not a lot of riz. Like I think his looks are carrying him. Not to get all clavicular on you guys, but like low-credentially, I think he's so sexy. And like his shape is so nice, and he's so round, like so perfectly round, like a pear, that really does actually carry him. Because when he speaks, he's so monotone. You know, he's like, I'm a grassroots conservative revolution. But like, because he's so hot, I think a lot of people in South Dakota look at him and they're like, "You're the sexiest guy I've ever seen in my life. Please build a wall on North Dakota." And you're so rotund. Like, you know how in ancient cultures, like being fat was associated with like wealth, so it was actually a good thing. It was like seen as like a positive beauty aesthetic. Like that's how it is in South Dakota as well. You know, like the Hittite, the ancient civilization style. Like they're like, oh, you're so perfectly rotund. This shape is incredible. Can we please unite the Dakotas once and for all? I think that's what it is. That's like, he's the Venus of Dakota, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the sex god.
Together we are going to prevail. We are going to win this battle.
He's so red. They have no like understanding of beats at all, by the way. I can't speak for our next governor, Toby Doeden, but if I were running the governor's office, Hasan Piker would be immediately detained and deported by the National Guard under the Communist Control Act of 1954 should he ever enter our state. Hasan Piker thinks you're hot, not clickbait. Toby Doeden. It's literally because I find his name funny to say. Larry Roden, Dusty Johnson, that yellow belly coward. We'll have none of that Dusty Johnson talk around these parts. You're treating these real people like an alternative reality game. It is true. It is like that for me. I'm still legally voting for Toby, and you can't do a damn thing about it. Bet you're secretly a Larry Roden fan. Maylot 1 voters of color by a lot, but the media will never draw attention to this. Yeah, of course. It doesn't matter, though. It goes against the way people are talking about it, right? Where they're like, oh, the DSA is all white people. They're all rich. I mean, they tried to pull that shit off with the Maylot victory against Diana DeGette. There were people, pro-Israel people, who were trying to cut propaganda about DSA so white. And what they were doing was, ironically, talking about a black woman, a young black woman who unseated a much older white lady that was a 30-year incumbent. That was the election watch party. That was what the election watch party was for. And it's such a strange phenomenon. They're calling DSA white supremacists. Yeah, I know. It's fucking crazy. I was asked about what my thoughts are. This is a candidate for Assembly District 65, mom of 3, New Yorker, and also the Manhattan Dems vice chair. And this is what she had to say about DSA. I was asked what are my thoughts when I'm asked about DSA. The organization itself, based on its own data, is over 85% white, mostly male and mostly wealthy. I'll add to that, the members share a collective white supremacist, I know better for you than you know yourself mindset. They didn't listen to the people of Palestine in 2024 who wanted them to support Kamala Harris. That's not true. The people of Palestine were not demanding that people support Kamala Harris. The fuck is this? I like that she said, these are white people that act as though they know better than black people about like whichever way people should vote, and then literally did that. As an American, I know better about what Palestinians want. Mariama James got 10% of the vote and came in 5th against Idiapa Saira Tupac, by the way, our boy in that district. Assembly District 65. That's probably the reason why she's chirping so hard. Nor did they listen to black people here who told them what a Trump re-election would mean for BIPOC and other marginalized communities. And they didn't listen to us in 2016 either. And we ended up in a conservative SCOTUS that's now stripping us of our constitutional rights one at a time. They are racist, anti-black, anti-Semitic, anti-East Asian, non-Democrats who follow the teachings of a registered independent who's never passed any legislation and is the senator of the literal whitest state in the union. They have no clue what middle, working, and low-income Americans need because those labels have never applied to them. And if they really cared about POC, they would amplify our movements. So here's a couple things I want to say. As you guys know, whenever I start talking about these sorts of issues, specifically white supremacy and anti-blackness in American politics, all of a sudden, my name is no longer Hasan. My name is Hank, and I'm a white supremacist, right? So I'm going to be as careful as I can when I talk about this issue. This kind of stuff doesn't just exist on Twitter, okay? It's mostly on Twitter, but there is definitely a constituency, from what I understand, amongst some unks and aunties, okay, that live in black neighborhoods that also feel a level of enmity towards the pro-Palestinian movement to a certain degree, while also being unbelievably sympathetic to the Palestinian plight, because they're black and they understand that intrinsically, right? So it's this weird situation where there is this, and I'm sure a lot of the black chatters in here will say that this is a conversation that they've had with their relatives, like older relatives in their communities, where on the one hand, like every black person in America, with the exception of like, I guess, Clarence Thomas, understands the plight of oppressed peoples, like what it feels to exist under colonial, or like what it looks like to exist under some sort of occupation, especially considering that, Ta-Nehisi Coates said it best, like going to the West Bank, you see the apartheid and you immediately get it. It is a reminder of the Jim Crow South. It is a reminder of the apartheid in South Africa. So like, this is not a form of existence that is unfamiliar to black people. So they understand that. But then also on the other hand, there is this level of bred enmity between groups that normally would be a coalition, and those groups are coalescing generationally. If you're talking about, young black and brown people, there's no bad blood, right? This is almost a generational thing exclusively, where like some of the older voters, while still very sympathetic to Palestinians, also legitimately see the uncommitted movement as like an op, right? They have a lot of enmity. They like Kamala Harris a lot. Now, this doesn't mean that, this doesn't mean that these unks and aunties are impossible to talk to. But there are certain things you can't do. You can't just like, not to get all enfant door in here, but you can't just like be straight out of the gate super dismissive of Kamala Harris. Like, you have to ease into some of these criticisms. It's more complex than the way that this person is presenting it. This person sucks, obviously. I mean, this is just the establishment Democrat that is shamelessly trying to rip apart any kind of coalition building that should take place, using blackness and a defensive posture, like defensive voting, as a way to draw some kind of enmity between socialist movements, socialist groups, and black voters and the black working class. It's disgusting. It's gross what she's doing. Having said that, there is an impact. Some people do feel this way because they watch television, unks and aunties specifically. So we have to make sure that we bring everyone into this movement. You got to do that. Fox News is leaning into this narrative as well. They're like, oh, Democrats, socialists, so white. Bernie bros. I think we have to be a little bit more careful, and we have to ensure that we're organizing in black communities as well, because this will be a major bulwark against progress. We can't allow it. The black working class is the heart and soul of all historic revolutionary movements in this country, and the representation of the black political identity oftentimes is not in the hands of the black working class, but instead is in the hands of people who have generated a level of generational income and generational wealth that have every investment in protecting entrenched power, and they do not shy away from using pre-existing racial wounds to consistently divide the working class. The way to combat that is by out-organizing them. If you are dismissive in any way, shape, or form about the black existence in this country, about black existence in this country, about white supremacy in this country, you will never win the aunts and the unks over. And I understand why people would be offhandedly dismissive, to be like, we're doing something that's good for them. Why don't they understand it? It's like, well, when you do that, you come across as dismissive. And it is just a somber reminder for many, especially older black folk, that you are, doing the same exact thing. A good organizer understands who they are trying to organize and uses the language of the masses and obviously focus on the needs of the masses. You got to go where the masses are. And the same thing obviously remains for organizing specifically in black neighborhoods and black communities as well. Obviously, DSA ran a lot of and consistently continues to run a lot of young women of color, black women. I think that's part of the reason why there are a lot of people who do this like insanely racist shit where they're like, DSA is anti-black. Oh yeah, well, here's two non-black people. You can't make this up. That's crazy. Like, you are leaning into ADOS nonsense. There's a level of like racial animus that exists, or some political animus that exists, and the fact that this guy's trafficking in this as like supposedly a woke liberal guy is insane. As a black liberal man, it's exceptionally insane, especially considering that Kamala Harris was the recipient of exactly this kind of racialized animus that Republicans took advantage of. It was crazy. It's crazy. The idea that like Kamala Harris is not a black woman or not perceived as a black woman is bullshit. She is a black woman. Of course she's perceived as a black woman. She went to Howard, right? She was a part of Divine Nine. And I'm fairly certain that this person probably yelled quite a bit at the time when people said Kamala Harris is not a black woman. This is unironically a reactionary attitude to have. The notion that Dadia Lisa or Maylot are not seen as black women. They're not even like fresh off the boat. You know what I mean? Like, there is this level of enmity that exists with like some African migrants that come to the United States of America, go to college, and they personally make this distinction that they are not black in the same way that like African Americans are. And then they very quickly realize that it's not about their experience. It's about how they're perceived by white supremacy. Like, white supremacists and how they perceive you is how you are defined in a white supremacist society, which America is. A police officer is not going to see Dadia Lisa and be like, whoa, wait a minute, are you afro-latina? I guess you're not a black woman then. Like, that's not how this works. That's crazy. Same with Kamala Harris. This is incredibly reactionary. While there are very cynical paid agents that are either trying to defend their entrenched power, their societal position, and doing so by bringing up their identity in defense of an apartheid state. Your opposition to that should not be to dismiss the concerns and come across like you're dismissive of white supremacy. You got to be more careful, especially because I think the next target for DSA should be to organize, obviously outside of like deep blue enclaves, but organize in black neighborhoods.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. We'll honor his name. We are Charlie Kirk. His courage on. Together unbroken. We'll make heaven known.